this right there. Hang on, there we go. And hi. Hello, fellow Northern Michiganders. So it's 1993. My plane is landing in LAX, and I could not be more excited and relieved to be over 2,000 miles away from my problems. You see, in the past year, my almost fiance of 5 years decided to come out of the closet. I lost my job or left my job because I had a verbally abusive, sexually harassing boss, which obviously meant that I was going to have to go home and move back in with my parents and live in their basement. Adulting in my 20s, not going so well. So much for being married at 25. So much for leaving Northern Michigan for an adventurous life in a big city. But when I returned home, the one bright spot in my time here was that I started going to this little country church. Now, I did not feel like I had a lot in common with these people, but they were some of the kindest, most humble, generous people I'd ever met. So I went every Sunday, and I learned that they were very involved in missions, with one mission organization in particular that had locations all over the world, and they had these like 6-month boot camps for people who were potential missionaries. Now, did I feel any special calling to be a missionary? Not really, but I had no job, I had no money, I had no direction in my life. So I thought, maybe I should try just giving whatever I have to help other people, and we'll see what happens. So I signed up for the school in Los Angeles, and it was this 7-acre campus just north of Hollywood, and the perfect location just a few miles away, allegedly, from Patrick Swayze's horse ranch. But yet only about 2 miles away from where Rodney King had just been beaten the year before. So me and a bunch of other 20-somethings from all over the world every day set about to make life in Los Angeles better for someone. We would go to MacArthur Park, which is the most violent park in Los Angeles, and we would feed the homeless. We would spend our afternoons on a rooftop playground that overlooked all of downtown Los Angeles, and we played with children who were dying with AIDS. Every single thing we did was absolutely out of my comfort zone. But here's the thing, I loved it. It's the first time I felt purpose in a long time. And I actually start to think, what? Maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And as the school wraps up, we get ready for a 2-month evangelical outreach. And to do that, we have to go through this 1 week that we call Performing Arts Week. Now, I was very excited about this because I did college theater. I even did stand-up comedy for like a minute after college. So I thought, this is going to be great. Until I understood that what I think of performing arts and what the school thinks of performing arts, 2 different things. What the school thought of as performing arts was mime. Okay, not the I'm trying to get out of a box mime, not that kind of mime, but mimes that were set to music that told religious messages with lots of symbolism that could be understood in any culture, theoretically. So, for example, because I know you want to know, for example, my mime that I had to learn, there was a clown, me, happy on the outside, suicidal on the inside. There was a tough guy who wanted to fight everybody, but was scared of everything. There was a beautiful girl who thought she was ugly, so she could not even stand to look in the mirror. And there was a religious hypocrite who was so busy pointing their finger at somebody else, they were quite literally blind. And these 4 characters meet a godlike character, and they are all wearing little red felt broken hearts. And the godlike character comes, shows them true love, and he immediately gives them a bigger, shiner, prettier heart that's perfect, and their lives are changed forever, and it only takes 10 minutes. And what was perhaps ironic is that my group was going to actually do these mimes in the birthplace of mime, France. So we get on a plane and we head to Paris, and our first performance is on New Year's Eve. And it's in the Champs-Élysées, right in front of the Arc de Triomphe. Now, the Champs-Élysées is very much like Times Square on New Year's Eve, in the sense that everyone's drunk and there's open bottles of champagne and people are yelling, "Bonne année, bonne année!" And my little group, we squirm and we wiggle and we jostle and we get just enough room to do our mime. And I know that no one is listening to the message, and I know this because everyone is trying to grab our asses. Never had my ass grabbed so much before or since. So much for sharing the good news. And every day kind of goes like this, minus the ass grabbing, where we go to a different location in Paris and do our mimes. One day we do it in sub-zero temperatures in front of the Musée d'Orsay. No one pays any attention. We go down into the subway because that's where street performers go. We do our performances. No one wants to talk to us. And each day we do these performances, my discomfort with what we're doing grows because once again, I feel like, man, I have made another bad life choice because this is not practical, this is not tangible, this is not concrete. And I would have never signed up for hit and run evangelism in a country where I don't speak the language. So our very last stop was in Brussels, Belgium. And we live just outside the red light district. And we pass through the red light district every day to get to the subway, and we see completely naked women in windows. We see emaciated sex workers stumbling in the streets, and we look at the street and hurry up past them. But one day we're coming home, walking through the red light district, and we walk by this bordello, and our team leader says to us, "We should perform in there." And before we can say anything, he runs inside, leaving us out in the cold. We don't think there's any chance we're getting in. In less than 30 seconds, he comes back out and says, he asked the bartender, and the bartender said yes. Do I think the bartender understood the question? Not so sure about that. But we go inside. There's so much smoke, it burns my eyes, which is good because I can't really see the men sitting with the mostly naked women at the tables. We find a little stage, we set up our music, and I'm thinking, we are gonna get thrown out of here. But I put my mask up, the music starts, we do our story, and it's quiet. No one's grabbing our asses. No one's getting up and leaving. And we make it all the way through the drama. But as soon as that drama stops, men are running for the door. I think we killed the mood. But more so, some of the men came up and talked to us. One guy asked if he could come home and spend the evening with us. And one guy talked to me, and he very much wanted me to know, okay, the two women he was with were just his friends. So as we finish up our conversations with these men, we head out into the street, and I look at my rest of my team, and they obviously believe we did something that night. They think they've made a difference. They are giving each other high fives. It's go us, go God. But I'm walking behind them, And I'm quiet because I'm not really sure we did anything. And I don't feel like I can say that. So I continue to just walk quietly behind them. And I think about, if there's anything I need to take away from this school, it's maybe that I have to start learning to live with the fact that there's not always going to be answers to my questions. I'm going to have to live in some gray areas and not always in black and white. There's not always going to be a tangible outcome to everything that I do. And that's okay. It's even okay to be a little bit foolish, to look a little bit foolish, if it's part of me learning what is and is not going to be my purpose. Thank you so much.